Night falls like an invisible fabric. The streets grow silent, the clocks drag on, and the weary body begins to surrender to the call of sleep. But as the eyes close, something greater awakens. Imagine a soft curtain being drawn before your vision. On the other side, the familiar world of bedroom walls, ceilings, and known objects no longer exists. There is only a dark and living space, as if it were the prelude to a secret play. It is in this instant, on the fragile thread between wakefulness and forgetting, that the hidden theater of the soul begins. It is not about physical rest, nor about random dreams. It is a crossing, a plunge inward, where what we call reality dissolves like smoke before the light. Each breath becomes a key. Each deeper sigh opens another layer of this veil. And the soul, delicate yet tireless, begins to see what the eyes could never record. Some describe this moment as falling into an abyss, others as floating in a sea of soft mist. The truth is, there is no fixed form. The veil shapes itself according to your energy, according to the emotions you carry before surrendering to the pillow. When the body gives in, the physical mind still resists. It clings to the worries of the day, to unfinished conversations, to unspoken fears. But the soul, patient, eternal, waits for the instant of complete surrender. And when that happens, when the mind at last grows silent, the secret spectacle begins. This veil is a threshold. It does not only close the eyes of the body, it opens the eyes of the soul. And that is why so many ancient sages spoke of sleep as a small death, a daily ritual of release, in which the soul rehearses its return to the invisible world. The next time you lie down, try to notice the exact moment the body begins to let go. Do not fight sleep. Simply feel as if a curtain were being gently drawn before you. If you can hold this image for a few seconds, you will realize that the fall into the unconscious is not a fall. It is a passage. And then the question rises, inevitable as an echo that cannot be silenced. When the veil closes, what exactly does your soul see when the physical eyes can no longer watch? The body rests. The breath deepens, soft, almost imperceptible. And in this quiet rhythm, the soul begins to drift away. It is not an escape. It is as if it slipped out of the body, with the delicacy of a flame detaching from a candle. The physical room still exists, but its presence is no longer absolute. In its place, another room begins to appear. A room without walls, without ceiling, without defined ground. A space that belongs neither to time nor to dream. It is the in-between, the threshold where everything lived during the day begins to dissolve. There, fragments of waking reality still echo. The distant sound of a memory, the sensation of a touch no longer present, a thought that insists on reverberating, like a bell still vibrating after being struck silent. But little by little, all dissolves. The memories of the day fade like ink in water. What remains is only silence. A living, pulsing silence, as if the universe itself were breathing with you. It is in this place that the soul waits. A neutral point, a cosmic antechamber, before the crossing into the deeper realms of sleep. Some call it the ethereal room. Others, the middle space. The name does not matter. What matters is the sensation. A state where the world has no weight, and the being is only presence. As you listen to these words, try now. Inhale slowly for 4 seconds. Hold the air for 4 seconds. Exhale gently in 4 seconds. Repeat. This cadence is the code of passage. It is as if each cycle opened an invisible door within you, allowing the soul to recognize the shift. With each breath, the room expands. silence gains form. Time loses shape. You are no longer only the one who lay down, but also the one who observes, floating. In this in-between space, choices begin to appear. Invisible doors emerge. Some vibrate with golden light. Others shine in deep blue. There are doors that seem to call, and others that seem to repel. Each one corresponds to a frequency, to an inner state. And it is in this moment that the soul understands. Sleep is not a single tunnel. It is a labyrinth of entrances. Each night, a different choice is made, and each choice leads to a unique scene of learning, revelation, or forgetting. The next time you surrender to sleep, remember this image, a silent room where doors begin to appear. Do not try to choose consciously, simply trust. The soul always knows which passage to open. But here, the riddle arises. In this in-between room where silence breathes, which door does your soul choose to open? The ethereal room expands in silence. The doors glow in the distance, but before any passage can be crossed, something appears before the soul. It is a mirror, but not an ordinary mirror. There is no frame, no glass. It seems made of liquid light, vibrating in waves. A living mirror that not only reflects, but awakens. The soul approaches, and in the reflection, there is not the human face you would recognize before a physical mirror. Fragments appear, seemingly trivial moments from the day just lived. A fleeting glance, a word spoken without thought, a gesture ignored. All that once seemed small now takes on immense proportions. It is as if consciousness amplifies every forgotten detail. The sadness once suffocated now manifests as a gray mist. The laughter that was true shines as a golden spark. The restrained anger transforms into trembling red lines before the reflection. In this mirror, emotions are not ideas, they are living forms. What was hidden emerges as symbols, and the soul, silent, observes. There is no judgment, only revelation. What seemed forgotten returns. What seemed insignificant reveals its weight. And in this instant, the mirror shows its true purpose. It does not only reflect what has been, it projects signs of what is yet to come. Some images do not belong to the past of the day. They are flashes, omens. An unfamiliar face that may appear in the future. A place never visited, yet already etched in the soul. It is as if the mirror were also a window, showing the spirit that linear time is only a convenient illusion. This is the first great reminder of the night. The soul is not bound to yesterday, nor to now. It moves along threads of possibility, seeing what the rational mind would never dare to accept. When you wake from a dream that seems confusing, ask yourself, what in this reflection is memory and what is warning? Many times what we judge as nonsense is only the mirror of consciousness trying to reveal something before its time. And here rises the mystery that holds the soul before the liquid reflection. The mirror awakens, but if it shows not only what has been, but what will come, how do we prepare for what is not yet born? The mirror begins to dissolve, as if the liquid water that formed it were breaking into waves, spreading through the void. The soul then perceives something that until now was hidden. The space vibrates. Everything pulses, everything emits a frequency. At first, it is only a low hum, almost imperceptible, like the distant sound of a drum. Then, the vibration grows, filling every corner of the ethereal room. The invisible walls seem to tremble, as if reality itself were preparing to open a passage. The physical body, asleep in its bed, feels it as deep slumber. but the soul perceives it as luminous doors. Each frequency, an entrance. Each vibration, a portal. There are gentle frequencies, glowing like blue doors, inviting. There are intense frequencies, burning in golden red, calling for deeper experiences. And there are also silent frequencies, doors almost invisible, that only the brave dare to cross. Here the soul understands. Sleep is not simply shutting down. It is aligning with a frequency. It is unconsciously choosing the vibration that will guide the night's journey. Ancient cultures already knew this. The Celts, the Egyptians, the Mayans, all described sleep as a spiral, a movement toward the center, only to emerge transformed. That is why the spiral appears carved in stones, in temples, in manuscripts. It is the secret map of passage. The spiral represents the journey of sleep. When you close your eyes tonight, imagine a golden spiral before you. Each turn, a deeper plunge. Each curve, a new layer revealed. This simple image can help the soul cross the portal with greater awareness. The portal vibrates. The colors intensify. The space pulses as if alive. The soul feels the inevitable call to cross. But there is a silent warning. Whoever crosses does not return the same. The chosen frequency shapes the learning of the night. Awakening will be only the tip of the thread. The true weaving takes place in the dimensions of the unseen. And the mystery echoes. Through the spiral, through the frequency gate. What shape will your soul take once it crosses? The spiral pulses. The portal vibrates in frequencies that seem to pierce every particle of the soul. And when the threshold is reached, something unexpected happens. They appear. Silent figures, motionless, yet intensely present. They are not angels as painted in old images, nor threatening shadows. They are guardians, beings of pure energy, shaped in forms human eyes could never decipher. Some perceive them as silhouettes of golden light, others as translucent shadows with unblinking eyes. The truth is, they adapt to what the soul can bear. They do not speak. They do not accuse. They do not judge. They only reflect. It is as if each guardian were a living mirror, returning to the soul the state in which it finds itself. If there is fear, they emanate a heavy gaze. If there is serenity, they radiate calm. If there is doubt, their form becomes nebulous, unstable. And the soul understands. These beings are not there to block the passage, but to see if the traveler is ready. They are like filters. Living portals that measure vibration before allowing the crossing. Perhaps that is why so many dreams are interrupted at this point. We wake suddenly with the sensation of falling, as if we had been stopped at the invisible border. It is the body's memory of the encounter with the guardians. The next time you wake with the sensation of a sudden fall, remember, it may have been the moment when the soul met its inner guardians. They do not punish. They only return. They are reflections. Their silence is profound. And in that silence, an unspoken question hovers over the soul. Are you ready to cross? This is the riddle that precedes the passage. And as the soul faces its own reflections projected in the guardians, a restless truth echoes. The silent guardians, they reflect you. If you dare to pass, what will you find beyond the threshold? The guardians fall silent. They do not move, yet the soul feels the permission. And as it crosses the threshold, a new stage opens. It is not heaven, it is not hell. It is a living theater where invisible curtains rise before consciousness. Suddenly, fragments appear, like films projected on liquid screens. But these are not ordinary dreams. They are echoes of other existences. The spiritual heart quickens. For what appears before the soul are not inventions of the mind, but memories etched into the eternal field. Unknown places, yet strangely familiar. Faces never seen in this life, yet stirring deep emotions. Forgotten loves, unresolved pains, battles fought centuries ago. Each scene is brief, like a flash. A soldier falling on a battlefield. A child laughing in a distant village. A woman weeping before an ancient window. All arise and dissolve quickly, leaving behind only their emotional echo. That is why so many dreams feel fragmented. The physical mind cannot translate this theater. It tries to organize, to cut, to impose linear sense on something vast and fractured. But the soul knows. It recognizes these flashes as pieces of itself. And here lies the revelation. Many of the recurring dreams we carry are not random symbols. They are insistent memories, fragments of past lives asking for integration. That is why certain scenes repeat. That is why certain fears seem to have no origin in this lifetime. They are callings, signs that something must be remembered, healed, redefined. If there is a dream that returns to you often, do not dismiss it. Upon waking, write it down. Do not try to interpret it at once. Simply record the symbols, the places, the emotions. Over time, patterns will emerge. And these patterns are traces, maps for understanding the theater of other lives. The stage continues to brighten. New fragments appear, as if the soul were leafing through an ancient album of universal memory. And each scene carries a hidden message, an invitation to integration. The theater is not entertainment. It is learning. It is the soul telling itself, see who you have been to understand who you are now. And before this grand spectacle, an inevitable question echoes in the silence of the night. These lives between dreams, are they mere echoes or urgent messages waiting to be heard? The theater slowly dissolves. The curtains of memory close, and the soul realizes that something else awaits. A new space opens, vast, luminous, wrapped in sacred silence. It is the council of the night. Here, the atmosphere is not of spectacle, but of reverence. The soul feels it has entered a place of wisdom, an ancient circle that existed even before the body was born. Figures begin to take form. Some appear human, with serene expressions, deep eyes, and garments that recall forgotten times. Others have no face, shining only as pillars of light. There are also subtle presences, invisible to sight, yet deeply felt in the heart. They do not arrive as teachers. They arrive as higher mirrors, as guides who simply remind the soul of what it already knows, but forgot upon crossing the veil of birth. The council speaks, but its words are not carried by voice. They are transmitted in symbols, in impressions, in sensations engraved directly into the spirit. Sometimes a short phrase, sometimes only an image, and always in riddles. Why riddles? Because the soul must take part in the process. If truth were handed over directly, there would be no learning. Thus, every symbol received in the council is an invitation for consciousness, upon awakening, to seek the hidden meaning. It is at this point that many dreams become messages. The figure who speaks in metaphors. The landscape that seems to carry a warning. The animal that appears again and again. All of this is the language of the council. If a dream has ever brought you a character who spoke something enigmatic, do not dismiss it. Write it down. Even if you do not yet understand, The simple act of recording opens a path for the waking mind to begin deciphering the messages of the council of the night. And the soul, seated before them, feels both humility and belonging. Not before judges, but before allies. Not before strangers, but before ancestors who have accompanied it through countless journeys. Some would call them masters, others spiritual guides, others ancestors. The names vary, but the essence is the same, presences that illuminate even in silence. And before the gentle glow emanating from the circle, the inevitable question echoes in the traveler's heart. Whispers of the council, why do they speak in riddles? What do they want you to uncover for yourself? The council dissolves like a breath of light. The soul feels the nightly journey nearing its end. But before returning to the physical body, there is always one last obstacle. The test of return. It is a subtle test, almost imperceptible. There are no guardians now, no mirrors or portals. There is only a silent choice, to remember or to forget. Forgetting is not failure. It is a filter. Most of what we live during sleep is stored in the depths of the soul and never reaches the waking mind. If everything did, the weight would be unbearable. Daylight life would become confused, tangled with fragments of other dimensions. That is why forgetting is also protection. But sometimes, the soul manages to bring something back. A symbol, a sensation, a brief dialogue, like a precious stone drawn from a deep ocean. And these fragments are invitations to decipher the nightly journey. The return is never linear. The soul crosses through layers, leaving traces like someone walking through water, watching ripples spread. When it finally nears the body, the physical consciousness begins to align. It is in this instant that the strangest sensations appear. The sudden fall that jolts you awake, the abrupt startle, the feeling of having heard a voice just before opening your eyes. Think of the time you awoke with a melody in your mind, without knowing where it came from. It was simply there, playing inside you, as if it had crossed the night alongside the soul. This is the clear sign of a fragment that resisted forgetting. Some call this spiritual downloads. Others, dream residues. But in essence, they are memories of the soul that managed to pass through the filter. And here lies the greater question. If we remember so little, what is it that remains forgotten? What truths, what encounters, what messages are kept in the subterranean layers of consciousness, waiting for the right moment to rise? The return is, therefore, not only the end of the nightly journey, but also a new beginning. Because each awakening is a chance to recover something forgotten, to search memory for the golden thread the soul tried to carry back. And the question echoes like a challenge. The memory test, what will remain? And if you could remember it all, what truths about yourself would come to light? The body wakes slowly. Eyes still closed, breath adjusting to the rhythm of the day that begins. It is in this instant, on that thin thread between sleep and wakefulness, that the call arises. The soul, which has traveled through mirrors, portals, and councils, returns carrying fragments. But these fragments are fragile as mist. If we open our eyes too quickly, they dissolve. If we move without care, they slip away like fine sand between the fingers. That is why the ancients spoke of the first minute upon waking as the most sacred, a moment when the bridge is still open. The body has returned, but the soul is still whispering. And here the secret appears, the guided recall test. A simple yet powerful ritual to recover the night's memories. Before opening your eyes, create silence within yourself. Do not rush to your phone. Do not hurry to rise. Simply ask in silence, what did my soul see? Do not expect long answers. Sometimes it will be only a color, sometimes a word, sometimes a quick image like a flash. It does not matter. What matters is to record it. Write it in a notebook by your bed, even if it seems meaningless. These fragments connect over time, like pieces of a puzzle that only reveals itself when assembled day after day. This is how consciousness begins to awaken beyond forgetting. Make it a habit to ask before opening your eyes, "What did my soul see?" This simple gesture can transform your relationship with sleep, unveiling hidden maps and answers long concealed within you. For every answer that arises at dawn is not delusion, not fantasy. It is a trail. It is the soul leaving clues for you to recognize yourself. And here stands the final mystery of preparation. Ask before waking, recall the unseen. For each answer is not fantasy, but a hidden map. Morning awakens. Light filters through the window. The body moves, the mind already turns to tasks, commitments, the weight of the day. And yet, something remains. Even if nothing is remembered, even if dreams dissolve like smoke in the wind, the soul returns transformed. For sleep is not forgetting. It is a journey. Each night, the soul sees, feels, learns and silences the mind cannot translate. What physical consciousness calls a dream is only a reduced reflection of something much greater. With every nightly crossing, something within us realigns. The spiritual heart receives symbols. Energy is adjusted. Eternal memory is nourished. That is why, even without remembering, you awaken changed. Sometimes lighter, sometimes more restless, sometimes with a sudden intuition about something that once seemed unsolvable. All of this is the trace of the soul's journey. Forgetting is only the surface. Wisdom remains. The invisible works in silence, shaping the visible. And this is the great truth that echoes in the heart. The soul always knew. It does not get lost. It does not grow confused. It does not depend on physical memory. Each night it carries the map of its own awakening. What your soul sees while you sleep is not lost. It is kept within you, waiting for the moment to bloom. Trust. Each night, you travel deeper into yourself. And even when you forget, the soul has already brought the change. Thus, sleep ceases to be only rest. It reveals itself as a daily initiation, a sacred cycle of death and rebirth. A constant reminder that life is not only matter, but also mystery. And when you close your eyes again, remember, the invisible theater of the night is already waiting, with new mirrors, new doors, new counsels. For the soul's journey never ends. It only continues. The soul always knew. Sleep is a journey, an invitation to expansion. The next time you fall asleep, know, it is not the end of the day, it is the beginning of another journey. Trust the symbols. Record the fragments. And remember, your soul has always been seen beyond.